So when I was looking at my palette, it occurred to me, I knew what was there, but anybody else looking at this might wonder and say, how do you ever paint that from this? Chaos. Chaos is the resource. My palette is my resource for doing the painting. The darkness, the void, the nothingness is God's palette. This was his palette. This is his source, his resources. He knows. He knows where the waters are. He knows where the darkness is and why dark is dark. Because dark is dark because there is a dividing point between darkness and light. And he talks of that. He speaks that into being, that separation. He says, let there be light, and the colors that comprises the darkness. All of the colors are in the darkness. But when they separate it out into the other order that brings about light that you and I see when the sun is shining after a storm and the clouds are still there and water is still falling somewhere, and we see the arc of colors, the rainbow. The water droplets fractures the colors, separates them. Red, blue, yellow, orange, violet, green. And they're separated. But if you bring them close together again, they go dark. Perhaps that's why the word speaks, for God, there's no difference between darkness and light. For him, it's all the same. Why? It's his resource. So, another principle in what's here. One of them, that first one is, understand that in the creative process, nothingness is your resource. The nothingness of the human mind is what the human draws upon to originate art in anything that we make. It's the idea. It's the feeling. The idea seems to come to me like a flash of light. And I hear that idea. Sometimes I actually do envision. The vision is just like that flash, a spark of light in a million midnights, and it's gone. But what lingers is the feeling. I feel the haunting sound of Gershwin's summertime. I feel the chirping of the birds feel and hear the earth speaking in different tones at different times of the day, with different patterns of light falling upon it at different angles. Hence the saying, the grass looks greener on the other side. No, it depends on your angle of view. That's what it's about. So if you keep the feeling, you can't see the idea anymore, you remember the idea, you remember the feeling, but you don't know now how to do it. Listen. Listen for what it takes now to do it. So, God, the first one is God's resource is His nothingness, the chaos. The second one is order controls chaos, not chaos controlling order. The third one is speak your idea. Write it down. Make it visible. And the next one is to separate the light from the darkness. Why do you think you see one another? Why do you think you see me standing up here? Why do you think you see anything that you see with your eyes in the physical sense? It's because of the division of light and shadow that falls upon the form, into the space. They're separated. When you divide the light from the darkness in its proper sequence, because you have seen it, because you have listened, because you now have learned through constant and persistent practice, you can paint the form. You can paint the space. You can create the illusion with color. So when you've done all of what I've talked about here, the image, whatever it is you are intending to create, is coming out of this. Now you must listen. You must listen. I heard somebody say, I work it too much. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to finish it. I don't either. What I have learned about painting is I don't finish the painting with my mind. The painting tells me when it's finished. And that's when I quit working.